And I think it's important to note that when we talk about the season of creation, we're not talking about something that's external to ourselves as human beings. We are part of creation. Jean-Eric put together a very strong agenda for us to work on. And we spent a lot of time working on immigration and refugee issues this week. As we consider the mandates of our past chapter, remember, we don't always look only at the past chapter. We look at the ones before it too. And so, in discerning the new faces of the poor from the previous chapter, one of the new faces of the poor we've been called to deal with is the issue of migrants and refugees. And so we had some extended time to listen to a presentation and various experiences from people who work in this ministry. What's also interesting is not just the fact that we discuss things. JPIC people are known to discuss lots of things. We're being an order of preachers, being a congregation of preachers rather, we are want to express our views verbally, and we're very, very effective at it. We used a little different process this time. We decided to follow the church's own modeling of using synodal process for our working together. And so we brought that together for our major conversations and discussions. And so we were really challenged to not just express our opinions, but really to prayerfully listen to what was being presented, whether that was from an outside presenter, Ms. Hinojosa from the Union of International Superiors General, who came to speak to us. She works for them in the areas of migrants and refugees. But really to prayerfully listen to what is being presented to us. And then also to take some time to reflect on that and to share a focused response that each one of us wants to give what we're called to by the Spirit. And then to make sure that we've heard each other well before we start getting into expressing opinions and discussion and action items. And so it was a bit of a challenge using our this new way of working with each other, but I also find it was very productive because we assured that we were listening to the Spirit, to information beyond ourselves, and to each other and how we felt the Spirit moving us to proceed forward. So using that synodal process was something new for us, and we all found it very profitable and encourage its use not only in our future meetings, but perhaps in other meetings of oblates and gatherings as well. This is a great tool that the entire church can use for discernment, not only listening and moving agendas forward, but real discernment in the Spirit. So that was a real plus for our meeting. Despite the fact that we spent so much time listening, we also spent a lot of time talking and planning and coming up with action items. As a matter of fact, I think we have enough action items for the coming year to fill out 2 years if we really wanted to. And so assigning tasks to different people and getting a timeline into that, I think the coming year will be a very effective year for the congregation and the JPIC office's ability to respond to the needs of the world around us in ways that also encourage and support local oblates to respond to the needs around us. As a matter of fact, we were specifically challenged by the Superior General to try and come up with very simple, usable tools for justice, peace, integrity of creation issues at the grassroots level. And so we have some plans to come up with any number of those things. One of the tasks I think you will find happening in the coming year is a set of reflection materials to use on implementing Laudato Si in the coming year. We plan to have quite a variety of those, very simple, portable, about a page of material maximum for use in a morning of reflection. Perhaps you could take several of these and work them together into a longer day or several days of retreat if you wish to. And those will be forthcoming in the year as we get those developed. We also hope to have greater use of the various talents of units around the congregation in their communications offices, not only to get words into people's hands and articles into people's hands, but really to make it presentable in a way that is engaging and involving for the people receiving the materials. Another area we hope to concentrate on in the coming year is further work with our Laudato Si action plan. I know an extensive book was presented to all the local unit superiors, and all have expressed that they have, almost all, about 95% have expressed that they have received that Laudato Si action plan guidebook. We're not always getting much response back about various projects that are taking place in local units, so I would like to take this opportunity to encourage local superiors and unit superiors to make sure that the many excellent works that are being done by the congregation, especially with focus on Laudato Si, are recognized, described, and sent back to our Director of Justice, Peace, Integrative Creation. It's not in our nature to toot our own horn in ministry. It's even kind of countermanded in Scripture. However, we need to remember that we're not tooting our own horn when we talk about our projects. We're putting forth the plight of the poor, their needs, and how to respond ministerially to that. And that is a value for us, and it's a necessary thing for us in order to help people understand what we're doing, to attract support from laity, whether that be spiritually, financially, or even vocationally, for people to join us through lay associations, through vocations to the oblates. We need to put our story out there more. And one specific way to do that is to send any action items that you are currently working with to Jean-Éric Jasmin, so that he can put these not only in the congregation's communication efforts through our communications director, but also upload them to a website where people who are in Jean-Éric's work, specifically Justice, Peace, Integrity of Creation coordinators, so that they can find those materials and get ideas for further animating their groups. So when you turn in your missionary projects for publication, it helps not only the oblates, but it also helps people around the world who are doing similar work to us to get ideas and further work together for the good of creation, for the good of the reign of God, and for the good of our various congregations. On September 1st, our church began its celebration of the season of creation. And of course, that goes in consonance with the Pope's document Laudato Si and its follow-up Laudate Deum. It also is in consort with our own chapter recommendations to work in consort with the document Laudato Si, which those chapter recommendations were before Laudato Deum was in popular circulation. And I think it's important to note that when we talk about the season of creation, we're not talking about something that's external to ourselves as human beings. We are part of creation. Every atom in our bodies comes out of the rest of the creation that we observe when we step out the front door or even walk around the halls of our houses. Creation is not something foreign to us. It is not an external thing, but it's part of who we are. Also, it's important to remember that as we talk about the many different faces of the poor and the plights of the poor, it's really hard to imagine major issues that affect the lives of the poor that don't somehow relate back to the earth. Where do people own land? Where is there clean, fertile land, and who can live there? Where is there stable climate and favorable climate? And what do costs of living do to the poor in those areas? Where are the food deserts, and how do people access food? Where are polluted places, and where are the rich and where are the poor when it comes to areas of pollution? You can't really separate justice for the poor with treatment of our planet. First of all, because we're part of it. Secondly, because of these issues on how land is controlled and parsed and used by the wealthy and by the poor. As we consider our role in creation, and as we continue to consider the document Laudato Si and our place in it, we're really called not just to do specific tasks. Remember, Laudato Si calls us to an ecological conversion. This is reflected very powerfully in the Superior General's letter back on August 15th of last year. We're not called to do specific tasks. We're called to have an ecological conversion. And that ecological conversion is not separate from human beings. It is not separate from our spirituality. It is not separate from our faith, and it certainly is not separate from our mission. So during this season of creation, as we consider not only the beauty of creation that is around us, let's also consider our use of creation, the way the poor are allowed to participate or not in the goodness of creation and what it does for us. It truly is a missionary challenge, and it is a challenge of our time. Recently, we had in the daily readings the parable of the 10 virgins. Some had oil and some did not, and it was a rather difficult circumstance because those who ran out of oil were simply outside of the banquet at the end of the story. We're kind of like that in terms of managing resources well for future use. But we don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I've managed mine well, so I'm okay, and others who haven't managed their resources, well, they can take care of themselves and deal with their own risks. When we're on the planet, we don't have an inside place and an outside place. We're all on the same planet, and we are all in the same situation, and we are all sharing the same jars of oil. So either we are in this together, or we are constructing a difficult situation for the entire planet together. We don't have an option to choose this or not if we want to live well on our planet, if we want to live together in peace and harmony on our planet. This is a mandate. This is a mandate for all human beings to take the situation facing creation seriously with human-made climate change, with access to resources that are just and equitable. This is part of our mission. This is not separate from who we are as oblates, and it is not optional according to one's political background or leanings. I would like to make a specific plea to the many oblates around the world who are doing great work with the poor, who do work with justice, with peace, working on issues of the integrity of creation, and working with the lives of the poor in general. I know you're busy. As oblates, you work hard. It would be really helpful to the congregation at large if you could take a few minutes on a regular basis and just send a little update on what you're doing in these areas to the congregation. If it's specifically with justice, peace, or integrity of creation, send it to the JPIC director, Father Jean-Eric Jasmin. If it's other general missionary work, it's always good to let people around the world know what we're doing. It helps our donors, it helps our lay supporters, it helps vocations, and it helps each other know and keep in prayer what we're doing with each other and for each other around the world. So please help the congregation. First of all, those of us who are in Rome, away from many of the ministries you're doing, help us understand better what it is that you're doing. Help your brother oblates around the world pray for and support you in that way, what it is you're doing, and help us in this project of getting our story out there to the world. We need to use media to do that now in a way we've never had to use before. And the justice, peace, integrity of creation ministries especially are dependent upon you telling us what's going on so that we can share the good news with others. Thanks.